More Than Words, 1990. Saying I love you, it's not the words I want to hear from you. It's not that I want you not to say, but if you only knew how easy it would be to show me how you feel. More than words is all I have to do to make it real. Then you wouldn't have to say that you love me because I'd already know. What would you do if my heart was torn in two? More than words to show how you feel that your love for me is real. So, it's just basically saying, show me, don't tell me. And right now, there's really extreme energy. I have my Extreme All Stars shirt on, and we're playing out our destinies. This is the male and the female destiny, and it goes into a heart, and it goes into extreme all-star energy. So you can understand that. You can understand that perfectly. Okay, it's simple facts. We're both DM and we're both DF in us. We have a twin, we have a mission partner, we have someone that wants to help us, whether it's our twin in 5D and higher, staying there, not taking on a physical body, and you getting a mission partner, or whether it's your twin flame coming in. It's still two separate energies going into the heart and making one energy. And right now, it's kind of like when I told you that the cake is in the oven. It's very intense right now. It's at 375 degrees, and all the ingredients are together. They're stirred well, and they're rising together to make this beautiful loaf. Perfect analogy for what I'm trying to say. Now, I have a couple things I'm going to go over with you. First of all, nothing to report in Astro again because it was, again, a very peaceful night. It's just like I said about the oven doing its work for us, and we just sit back like this and wait for the banana cake to come out of the oven. But yet the energy is extreme and intense. So I can be sitting right here and be really dizzy, which is my biggest symptom, is dizziness. Now, when I went into the room, there were like 17 cards on the floor. So I picked them up, and the first card out is the Queen of Wands. And I am going to do a reading with those cards. They're all different cards, not all from the same deck, mostly from the same deck, but not. And they were knocked down by, oh, of course, Mr. Kitty. Okay, but I want to go over the shorts with you. 1990 was, again, another year. I was in Florida working at the bars. 1990, 1991 is when this song came out. Very, very extreme, intense energy, and the angels were definitely working overtime. So the first card is the High Priestess. We can't get away from this card all week. This was the energy all week, is this High Priestess energy. Third eye, go within, gut feeling, use your intuition. Now I want to stress gut feeling because right now I'm hardly even watching anything on social media or the news. I'm trying to keep my head in the sand, but then pop out and just see what's going on. Make sure the fires aren't around me because they're everywhere. Make sure, your head isn't in the sand, but keeping it in the sand. Okay, that's what's going on right now. Because with this intense energy that's around us, we just want to live in the solution to whatever comes down the pipe every minute. Okay? So we've got the Wheel of Fortune because everything's changing around us. The Wheel of Fortune. It's lucky breaks for us because we've cleaned up our karmic cycles. So we're at this turning point. Again, it's just like the banana cake in the oven. It's energy where we have to sit here and make sure that the oven doesn't explode, make sure the temperature is staying the same, you know, kind of keeping your eye on the oven, but yet still doing our daily work right here. I can't express enough extreme. That's the word, extreme. Just like the band, extreme. Okay, so that's the Wheel of Fortune transformation energy card. Then we had the Eight of Wands, which is incoming communication. Now, whether that's good or bad, I can't tell you, but it's coming in quickly and it says it's emotional. So it said to remain high vibed. And again, with that more than words, this isn't so much about words you're hearing, it's more about the gut feeling, and it's more about action. You can say, and people can say anything they want, but actions, I always used to say, proof is in the pudding. That's what I used to always say. Okay, proof is in the pudding, proof is in the banana cake. So the past is the past. Have you learned your lessons from the past? Well, that's going to be tested a lot. You know, every moment, every day, you're going to be tested on the past is the past. Did you learn your lessons? Big time. Ask God, you shall receive His will. So that's the other thing too. We can ask God all the time for things, but why don't you just ask God for your soul contract to be played out and you having the strength enough to complete it? Positive New Earth indeed came up a couple times on the shorts, along with the bird statues. And if you noticed, one of the red cardinals was laying on its side. So not everybody's going to make this Positive New Earth. That's what I got from that picture and from that bird being on its side. Not everybody is going to make the Positive New Earth. I did put the bird back up after the movie, so he is now on his 5D and higher journey because of my intervention. So yay. New perspective, just like I put on the birdie. Instead of leaving him dead and on his side, I went and turned him over and sent him to 5D and higher. That's a new perspective. Do you see how I take things that are put in front of me and I just have fun with them? Surrender to the cosmos. Let go. It's reflection time. New wisdom and enlightenment pouring in. Okay? We have had one hell of a month, and if you're still here, that's awesome, because you're on a journey, Six of Swords, you're moving on and you're transitioning. And that goes right with hand in hand with the Wheel of Fortune energy is what I'm feeling, is transition energy off the Six of Swords. And then we had the last one was the Four of Pentacles. Help others and stay in gratitude is what I'm getting from the Four of Pentacles. You just want to do the next right thing. If you have animals, make sure their water bowl and their food bowl is full. If you have a family, make sure that you can provide for them the best you can in this energy. Every day, people are leaving us. Pets are leaving us. When I went to the pet appointment, a lady and her husband had to put down their dog, Odin, and I said a prayer for Odin and sent him 5D and higher, along with that red cardinal. And every day they're leaving, but every day they're coming in. Our shelters are so full, they're euthanizing animals because they're so full. Now, I'm not into euthanizing, but I want to tell you one thing, that if you euthanize an animal, they go 5D and higher right away, and they're out of this realm, so I don't see nothing wrong with it. I had to euthanize Bailey Nut when she got hit by the car, and instead of doing internal injury surgery, I decided to put her out, and she's back 10 years later in the same place that I met her, in my carport. And she had them babies I told you in the carport. This one had babies in the carport. It's the exact same situation, the exact same cat 10 years later. And I have to be the mom and help these animals, but just by feeding and water. And if you can get them spayed and neutered, great. If you can't, you can't. And you just have to back off and let nature take its course. Who would have ever believed that the same cat would appear 10 years later in the same spot? It happened to make me go back, replay that tape, and see what lessons I learned that I don't want to repeat. And then it also came back to show me how far I've come. How far I've come in 10 years. Okay, so all is well on the pet front. And thank you for any donations on my Zelle for the pets. I don't say it publicly, but thank you, and you know who you are. So the Queen of Wands, when I went into that room, I saw the Queen of Wands with all these cards all over the floor. Now I'm going to read them how I feel to read them. And some of them were in reverse, some of them are upright. I took them just how they were. So this card is just telling me to use your creativity and do everything I just got done saying. Now, be careful what you ask for is a big one right now. I have a new book called What You Wish For, and I found it at the pet store, not the pet store, the pet doctor. And I got a couple books donated to me from there. So that was one of them. And I'll probably put that on the thumbnail for you tomorrow, unless I have it on here. Let me look. I don't think I do. Oh, I do. Okay. What You Wish For by Vern Michaels. And Fern Michaels reminds me of St. Michael. The star card reminds me of the star on here. And What You Wish For is the name of the book. And I've already started it. And it starts out where she's in an abusive situation and she wishes she was out of it. And the abuse got so bad it went to the animal, and her dog's at the vet, and she's all beat up, and the dog's all beat up. And that to me is so sad. It's like, I don't need to be reading this, but it was put in front of me. I have to read this story, and I'm going to, and I will keep you updated on little things that I'm supposed to tell you. But there's an example of how obedient I am. I don't really feel like reading this book, but I'm going to do it, okay? And they want me off of social media reading that stuff because there's so much disinformation coming out right now, and we need to live in not a conspiracy theory thinking. We need to think in a God's thinking a God thinking mode. So by watching the conspiracy theorists, which is fine. I like a lot of it, right? But we can't become it. We have to stay sovereign. We have to stay authentic. We have to stay our own true self. And by watching everybody's social media and Twitter, all we're becoming is what they're telling us. And that's the trick. They want to do that. It's programming. And if you can just sit in quiet or sit with the music on in the background, and definitely stay watching Miss Mystic, but you just want to maybe grab a fiction book. And I prefer sci-fi books, but that's okay. What's put in front of me was put in front of me. So that was the there's lots of little things I'm supposed to tell you. Okay, that's why these cards were on the floor and all mixed up. So we want to stay in our creativity, okay, Queen of Wands. And of course, the Magician came back because we have to use our magic power. We have to use the weird things, you know, like when you get that gut feeling, oh, I just have this gut feeling to call so and so, or I have this gut feeling to take that free book. I have a gut feeling to make that banana cake. Just these gut feelings, the magician power and the high priestess are hand in hand with what I'm reading off of this card. Then we had the destiny card. There's the star card. You see the star up there? It's exactly like my shirt, except it's white and mine are black. And look at that. Look at even the size is the same. It's amazing how these work out, isn't it? And the white star is God. And I said, we need to focus on God's energy, being an agent of God. Now the Page of Wands is back, but when I saw him on the floor, he was in the other position. So yesterday when I talked about the Page of Wands, I told you that he's just standing there. He needs to get moving. Well, he was in the opposite direction, moving, when I saw him on the floor last night. So he's listening. That is so awesome. And I'm drawn to his white boots. You know, white again is faith. He's walking towards his destiny. He was standing there, he said, bold and courageous and daring and waiting for the signal to move on. And he said, you gave it to me this morning, Miss Mystic. Thank you. And he was moving on. Another movie I saw was the two movies. I think there's two sequels. Night at the Museum. And that's a really good movie because the animals and all the statues come alive. And that reminds me of this card because he was fully alive and he was talking to me yesterday on the floor. And he said, see, I'm facing the other way now. So Night at the Museum, that's with Ben Stiller. And then I also watched the movie from Disney. It's a cartoon movie called Up. And that was awesome too, because it's like how we always are going to be doing something with our significant other when we get this, when we get that. And finally, you're 80 years old and one of you die and you haven't completed your mission. And it's like, so you try to complete it while they're in spirit form. And that's like when he emptied out his house, it reminded me of where we're all at, a lot of us, liquidating, getting rid of everything out of the house and making the house lighter for its next move. So you might want to watch the Disney movie called Up. And very funny. And then you saw the cat jump up here. So Up. And there's also that song by Hunter X I told you to listen to, Up, Up, Up. Okay, then in reverse, we've got the Chariot. And I asked, why is that in reverse? And they just said, because the banana cake is still in the oven, remember? And the Page of Wands just finally turned his direction. And it's now going to be time for the Chariot to go into the right position. Yesterday, I think we did have it in the right position for most of you. This is for the second half that was stagnant. So the second half that wasn't moving is now going to be moving. And the reason why is because that flame that I said needs to be put under somebody's butt. It happened. The universe stepped in. They have to. Because if you're not going to listen, remember when I told you about if you're not going to move, eventually God will make you move by fire, by tornado, by earthquake, but he will make you move. If you're not going to leave that toxic situation, God will make you. That's what I mean by extreme, intense energy. I don't take any of this lightly, and you shouldn't either. Okay, so we've got the Page of Swords in reverse, and that's the energy that I just spoke about, is what I'm getting off of this card. If you don't want to move in truth, Page of Swords, it will be done for you. And that's why it was in reverse, because if you don't want to listen to your gut feeling, you don't want to use your intuition because you have fear, right? You have that lack of courage. You can't leave that toxic situation because of A, B, C, D. Okay, well, God's stepping in, the universe is stepping in with extreme intense energy and going to make you. Okay? And again, the higher self blowing your hair, kind of like a vacuum, right? They're just like sucking you right up with, you see his hair. And that movie Up, 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 right? That movie Up by Disneyland, Disney World, what's it called? Disney Productions, okay, thank you. That's what's going on here. You don't want to listen to your higher self? Well, the universe said, well, I'm a little bit more powerful than your higher self. Look at that, the Gaia card next. The world has to step in. Just what I said. The world mission has to get completed. You have to go on the Fool card. You have to go on this new beginning. You don't have a choice. You signed up for this. You're getting it. Whatever you signed up for, King of Questing, whatever your quest is, you're getting it. Remember, we had the Queen of Questing in the beginning. So you see how he comes in after all that in the middle that I just said. Now he shows up. Perfect, right? So he listened from yesterday because that flame got a little hot under his butt. You also want to check out Cheap Trick the Flame, one of my favorite songs. Okay, so you've got the Three of Swords in reverse. You no longer are heartbroken. You're ready for this. You're ready. Courageous and daring was in reverse. That was what was stopping you. Your Two of Wands energy was stopping you. It wasn't your broken heart. You were trying to blame it on a broken heart. Oh, I can't do this because I'm still blah, blah, blah. No, it was because you were too chicken. You didn't have enough courage. You didn't have enough daringness. It was not your broken heart. That was a lie. That was a deception. Seven of Cups in reverse. You also weren't looking at all your options, and you were just staying confused because it was in reverse. You heard me say were. Now you see. Oh yeah, God showed you quite a lot last night. Yes, he did. Okay, now the two cards in reverse that came out for the final outcome were kind of confusing to me because it was the Sun in reverse and it was the Four of Swords in reverse. And all that told me was, for you that are not healed, it's a no. You're not going to be getting the outcome that I said. Okay? So if this whole reading did not apply to you because you didn't do the things that I've said, you're not going to listen to the universe, you're kind of like flipping off the universe. If you're doing that, well, it's definitely a Sun in reverse and a Four of Swords in reverse. You can look them cards up and get your own outcome, but this is only for if you didn't and don't listen. Because, again, it's this extreme weather energy. Like, if you're listening to the news and they say that you need to evacuate because there's a fire and you don't evacuate, and then the fire burns you and your animals up. That's the outcome of the Sun in reverse and the Four of Swords in reverse, because you didn't listen to the warning. So even though the universe did everything it could last night in Astro for you. I'm doing everything I can with the music, the songs, the movies. I'm trying to give you as much information on the energy that I can because it's so extreme, it's so intense. But if you don't listen, this is the outcome for them. For us, they said, it's healing and it's a favorable outcome, and you're going to get your Queen and your King of Wands are coming together to make magical destiny happen. Okay, so there were two outcomes because I was kind of confused on that. It was such a good reading, and then the last two cards seemed negative, and they are, but not for the ones that are doing what they're supposed to be doing. So are you doing what you're supposed to be doing? Are you going to look up the shorts? Are you going to look up the lyrics? Are you going to look up the movies? Are you going to do all the stuff that I tell you to do? And you don't have to do everything I tell you to do, but they're telling me to tell you it for a reason. So again, you have free will, and that's what I'm saying. So if you don't want to evacuate and the fire comes, well, don't be wondering when you wake up dead why you woke up dead. Okay, you guys, I am Miss Mystic. I want to thank you for listening. I love you guys.